Hi, this is Stacey Levine-Lavely with Connections, and today I have an exciting guest here. He is not only honorary captain of the Bravehearts, but also the Pirates. His name is Krish Vyas, and I am so excited to have him here. Not only is he all of those things, he also has his own podcast. He has his own book written about him, and he is just an amazing, amazing young man. So I'm so excited. Welcome, Krish. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited.
Yeah, me too. I'm so, so excited. So I want to start off with what is your favorite sport since you have two teams you represent?
I would have to say football. I love baseball. It's just so hard to watch on TV. So I think my favorite sport right now would be football.
Okay, cool. Who's your favorite player?
My favorite player in the NFL was a guy, but he unfortunately went to jail. So my favorite not jail player is Cam Newton. He was a
Okay.
quarterback for the Carolina Panthers for a while. So.
Oh, nice, nice. That's awesome. So yeah, so that's really cool. Now, do you go to a lot of, Patriots games or any of the big league games, or do you just like to kind of hang at the local
The
places?
big league games are extremely expensive to go to, and the weather,
Yeah.
unfortunately, can be really cold sometimes. So, football is meant to be a TV sport. So, when you go to football games, there's a lot of advertisement breaks and stuff. But when you watch it on TV, that's what it's designed for. So, I enjoy watching the games from my couch.
Okay, but for baseball, you like to be in the
Baseball,
stadium, right?
baseball, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. One of my favorite players in general is Mookie Betts. I was always convinced that that's the reason we had the COVID pandemic is because we traded him, and I was so sad. So I'm going to just kind of jump into a little bit about Krish and who you are. And I know you're a rising senior, and I want to find out a little bit about what your school experience has been like.
Yeah, I would say school overall has been a little tough. I think I live a very different life than a lot of my classmates do in terms of my medical complications. So I'm out of school a lot. I would say every month I'm out about probably 5 to 6 days from school, which in actuality doesn't seem like a lot, but if you really think about it, it is because of the amount of content I miss and everything I need to catch up with. I think a lot of people don't sometimes look at me as they don't value my opinion as much as they should, and they don't give me the time of day that I believe I deserve. I feel like in my mind, I feel like I want to say I'm a real smart kid, but I think I can answer the question if I'm given a chance. And I feel like through school I haven't been given a chance to properly succeed, and I always have to find a way to, overcome odds, and and especially with the kids. The kids are just there's great kids. Some of them are really great, and I appreciate them. But some of them don't understand fundamentally how to be respectful to the people around them, especially me. And they'll just they'll treat me like I'm younger than I am, or they'll cut me off, and I'll be working in groups and they won't let me speak. So it's a lot of that, and so it's just overcoming that and battling adversity.
Yeah, and that's really challenging because you are on an IEP, and the most important thing is the equity of it. And I always go back to there's a slide that I've seen, and I'm sure you're probably familiar with it because I know you're really intelligent. I know you really look at this kind of stuff. And it's three people, and they're watching a baseball game. It's a dad and maybe two of his sons, or a son and a friend. And one is probably maybe about 10 years old, kind of tall. And then the other one is very small. He's probably maybe a 6-year-old kid or so. And they are all trying to watch a game through a fence. And the they have blocks. So each person is on a block.
Yeah.
But in reality, the dad doesn't really need it. Obviously, the older son does need one, and the younger one needs two. And at the end of the day, it's equality versus equity. And it's so important for you to be seen not only as an equal but also equitable, and that you're getting those kind of opportunities that you need to be able to express yourself, because like you said, you are very intelligent. There's a lot going on here, and you are so eloquent, and I want to kind of jump right into that, because I know one of the reasons that you're with the Bravehearts now is back in 2015. Is that correct?
Yes.
They were, having a slump of a season, and they were really just not doing very well. And you went to a game, and all of a sudden they won. And you were like part of that inspiration of going in and talking to them and really kind of, hyping everybody up, giving everybody high fives. Really, really, you become the heart of that team. I mean, Bravehearts may be their name, but you really become that. But you become it for a reason, not just because you're living out the name of a team. Like, you really were able to reach in and really touch hearts that day. So do you remember anything about that speech?
Yeah, so my biggest thing when I'm with my teams is to try to build a foundation. And a foundation creates winning. And so if we are all on the same page, we can achieve what we want to achieve. And I think a lot of things that give me like power and inspiration to be able to speak to my teams are not necessarily like the medical stuff I go through. That's part of it, but a lot of it's like kind of back to the school thing. Like I'm constantly like stereotypes. So like IEP, like yeah, I'm on an IEP, but that's just a word to me. That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
So when I talk to my teams, I try to channel a lot of that, and I try to turn it into positives and show them like if I can do it, you can do it. And so the one thing I remember from that whole year is everyone brought in at the same time. They all bought into the overall mission that we wanted to go to where we want to get to. And I mean, when I had guys over at my house, that was awesome. Being able to, play outside and bond with them. And the thing I remember most about that year was the relationships I created with all the guys on the team.
Yeah, that's so amazing. Now, as you've gone through, because it is a team that does constantly evolve, there's always changes, there are always people leaving, new people coming, and things like that. How does that affect how you're able to connect with them, do you think?
Yeah, I think when the first, I would say the first week when guys get there, they don't really view me as credible. They're like, oh, what is this kid doing around here? Then when I give him a speech, it's kind of like, oh man, this kid is like legit. And that happened earlier this season. I gave a speech to them, and now like I know every single person on the team, and we're great. And so it takes time. I try to work with each one of them and get to know them like as people. So I try to create an individual relationship with each of the guys on the team. And so that's how I kind of, it's hard because I mean all these guys are from different states, different towns, and they have different experiences. So I try to bring that all into one and have one experience with everyone.
Now, do you find that, having gone through what you've gone through with school, do you ever have to really help some of the new people? Like, let's say they're kind of a little bit standoffish, or maybe the team isn't really like gelling with them or something. Do you ever get called on to kind of, make that connection and kind of, shake things up a little bit so that that person is able to really acclimate to the team and really become part of the team?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if there's a new guy, I always try to sit by them and talk to them and make sure, that they feel like they're part of the team. I've had a really good the past. I would say I was with the team for this is my ninth season. So out of 9 years, I really only had a serious issue with one guy, and that was quickly put out real quick. So it all I try to do is I try to view them for their personalities because people, and this is life too. Everyone is going to have their own opinions. Everyone is going to have their own views, and you have to figure out that you can't change someone's, like you can't change their view, you can't change their personality, but you can change their attitude. And so I try to, talk to them and treat them with respect. And I would say 99.9% of the time when I treat them with respect, they treat me with respect back. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. And speaking of that respect, where you've dealt with some uncomfortable situations at school and things like that, and I'm assuming you have had some bullying situations that have gone on, can you tell me how you handle the bullying when you are dealing with that?
When I deal with bullying, I take bullying personally. For me, I'm not one of those people that you can say whatever to, and I just sit back. It's something that I take it until it gets to the point where I have to say something. But like if someone, for example, like the people who just are kids, though I had a kid, I was playing basketball, dribbling the ball, and he was like, "Hey, little boy, come over here." And we went 1-on-1. I hit a three over him, and he didn't say a word for me. The rest of the year, rest of my high school career. So, it, I had a teacher. My nurse was doing my flush. My nurse was under the table. The teacher called me out in front of the entire class. And said, "What are you doing?" When she knew it was a medical thing. And so, it's different things that like that. And then I think the most thing that motivates me the most that I have to overcome is when I talk and my teachers like smile at me. And they don't smile at any other kid like, "Oh wow, he knows it." Like they're so surprised. I'm like, "What are you surprised about?" So it's hard for me in school because I still wear a mask because of my health. So that's really difficult because sometimes like it's hard to communicate through that. But I think the biggest thing is when you overcome that, you just have to think in your head like they don't know. They don't know the numbers that you put up in the classroom. They don't know that you've been on honor roll every quarter. They don't know that. So you just have to you don't have to prove yourself. You just have to believe in yourself, and then that the rest will take care of itself.
Yeah, and those are great words to live by. I mean, for sure. Because, just, and a lot of people, because a lot of my audience is parents of kids with special needs. And it's hard because not everyone who has a special need necessarily has any kind of like intellectual disabilities. And someone like you're very bright. You don't have, an IQ that's a lower IQ or anything like that. And you're able to learn the same way every other child and every other student does. And there's so much there. And instead of, patronizing you, they could learn so much. They can learn not only that how smart you are and what you know about the curriculum, but also the things you've had to handle and overcome in life. That, it would be better for them, I think, to learn that from you than to sit and kind of, like you said, smile at you and be like, oh, wow, you actually know something. It's like you're very, very bright. And I just think that's really important that a lot of families understand that. And if you have a person in your family with special needs, keep fighting. Krish is a perfect example that it's more of a medical complexity. It's not that it's in any way or shape or form affecting how you think, how you process. You may need a little more time at times, but everybody does. It doesn't matter if you have special needs or not. We all have those moments where like, what's that word again? We all go through it. So I think you're so brave for doing that. Now, do you have any, like, if you could say to someone like, let me give you three things that would help them with bullying. What are three things you think that might help other kids kind of overcome it or kind of at least get okay with it, that they're not blaming themselves and feeling bad about themselves?
You just have to know that the people that are bullying you are not like you. You're better than them. You'll always be better than them. And I would say my main thing is I know you have to know in your mind that you're the best at what you do. And that might come across as cocky, like no, what it is it's self confidence. You have to see yourself where you want to get to. Like I know where I want to get to, and I will get there. But you have until you believe that, people will continue to kick you and knock you down because they see that you're weak. If you come towards them strong, they won't even test you because they know that man, he's not gonna put up with me or put up with what I'm gonna say. Like when I give presentations in school, sometimes I have kids that don't pay attention, or they might be laughing or they'll be smiling, And I deal with that with, a lot of kids, especially from the football team from my school, right? And I'm like, they're disrespecting me, but at the end of the day, they're not going to go to where I'm going to go to. So I just have to realize that, and I don't even worry. Like, don't even care about them. Don't waste their energy. There's so many other great people that care about you, that want to see you successful. And the last thing would be keep your circle really tight, right? Only the people that you surround yourself with, like they're the same, right? The product of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. I don't say it's 5, I say it's 3. Keeping your circle small with people that really want to see you be successful, not people that just want a piece of your success or want to bring you down. So that's the big thing.
Absolutely, 100%. So tell me, I know you mentioned in this, just kind of keep your eye on the prize, do what you want to do. What are some of your dreams and aspirations that you want to do in
My
life?
dream is to be the president of the United States. Eventually, I want to be going to politics. But I think my main dream is to be able to, spread my message across the country and give kids inspiration. One of the biggest things right now is I want to go into coaching. I really want to coach youth and lead them on the right path. I also I want to be involved at the professional sports level as an owner, as a coach, as an executive, and eventually I want to be able to travel the world, meet different people, learn different cultures, and develop friendships that can last a lifetime. And I I I want to see myself. I want to know that when it's all over, like I live my best life possible because I only get this one chance, and I just can't wait when I'm done with school. It's pressure free. I can just be myself freely, and I'm really excited for that.
Now, do you want to go to college or?
100%. I want to go to college, and right now I'm looking at Worcester State, Assumption. I'm looking at all the local schools. I'm not set on one, but I've had people tell me, I've told people I'm gonna apply to Ivy League schools, right? Just to try, and they're like, oh, don't waste your time. Like, it's a waste of an application. You're not gonna get in. I'm like, just watch, because if I don't even put pressure on myself. You're not, and this is for all the kids out there watching. Like, just because you're in AP, you're in honors, I'm in none of those. That doesn't diminish my value as a person. The education system right now, they try to put numbers on you. They try to tell you what your rank is. That doesn't, just because you're a high level student doesn't make you a high level person. So whatever school I go to, I want to make sure I can develop firstly as a man, and then second as a student. So
100%, and you're going to miss 100% of the opportunities you don't take. So even if you don't get in, who cares? You did it, you tried, and if you do get in, it's a pleasant surprise. And if it's not, oh well. You have other great schools. I mean, Worcester has wonderful schools around here.
Oh yeah.
You're also close to family, and as you said, keeping your circle tight. You have a big circle, even though you want to keep it tight. But you're around people who can support you, who can love you, who can lift you up to that next level. And I do want to jump right into that because one of the teams, obviously, that we're talking about are the Bravehearts who truly support you. So tell me, what does a day look like for you when you go over to Fit and Field and you kind of hang out with the Bravehearts? Do you do practice and games or just games, or how does that work
Yeah,
for you?
so I like the Bravehearts. One thing about them, and they let me express my personality so freely. And my personality is I'm very jumpy, so I like to move all over the place. I'll sit in the dugout, or I'll sit all the way up in the top bleacher. Like, I'll sit anywhere. Just I'll sit by myself. I'll sit with other people. I just love to walk around. The other day at Friday, it was raining really bad. It was like pouring and there was lightning and everything. I was having so much fun in the rain, moving around. And so I usually show up at the field at like 6:30, 6:45, depending on, if I eat my mom's pasta on time or not. Um, but yeah, I plan it based on, like, if I'm giving a speech, I'll show up at like 4:45. But if I'm not, I'll show up at like 6:45. But one of my eventual goals is to be able to take road trips with the team. Maybe even this year, go to somewhere like Vermont or Connecticut. We play against 8 different teams in the league, so figuring out maybe see what other cities I can explore for sure.
Now, are you gonna go? Would you go with the team in the bus, or you would just meet them there?
May probably meet them there, but I would love to experience a bus trip for
Yeah,
sure.
that would be so
For
cool.
sure.
So fun. So fun. Yeah, it was funny because we were actually there on opening night and it was awesome because they honored you with the first pitch out and I didn't know a lot of the things that they were saying. So do you want to share some of that with us? Because it was just so inspirational and the whole crowd was just like in awe when they were like going over all the things you've been through because you are such a warrior. What you've been through in your life, I mean, most people will never even like scratch the surface of that. And it was just like so heartwarming. And Jagger and I, everybody here knows Jagger, I talk about him all the time. We were just like, yeah, Krish, we know him. Ah. We were so excited. So tell us a little bit about, what that intro looked like and how did it feel to you?
I really appreciate that, by the way. But it it was really like it was amazing. Just looking up at the crowd. It's like all the cold fall days that I came home and I was looking out the window and I had a bad day at school. That is what it's all for. It's all worth it. Looking up like that. That really like I was so happy that day. It a lot of it was about my message. And my overall message of. And it sounds cliche, but don't let someone tell you like who you are. You only know who you are. Like no one will ever tell you what your worth is, and no one wants to see you successful as much as you want to see yourself successful. So you you have to know. And also, my biggest thing is I have all this stuff going on with all these teams, but that doesn't change me. I'm not over. I don't have an over ego. I'm not like, oh, I don't go to school. Oh, I'm the captain of this team. Oh, I'm the captain of that team. I keep it really private because I don't want that to affect who I am. I'm Krish. At the end of the day, I'm a regular person, and I still have to fight for everything else that everyone else has to fight for. So
No, absolutely. And I think that's the most important thing is remembering who you are at your core. And like you said, the accolades are nice and, they make you feel good. But, at the end of the day, you have to look at yourself in the mirror. You have to be doing the right thing. And you inspiring so many people is absolutely doing that. And you're just being you, just who you are. You're sharing your story, like you said, as I say, your message. And it's so true because when we do share, we not only unburden ourselves somewhat, we're also really, there's somebody in that crowd who, because of you that night, their life is going to change. And I mean, that's so powerful. And you may never meet that person and you may never know what you did that night, but you did. And I think that's really important for you to realize, as, a young man kind of coming in and kind of, opening yourself up to the world. And some of it can be scary and some of it can be, like you said, with the bullies and people not taking you seriously. And, you are smaller in stature. So people like the little boy, like with the basketball and all that kind of stuff. But you're such a huge man and you have such a huge heart. And it just blows me away. So tell me a little bit about the Pirates too. I don't want to ignore them.
yeah, so Massachusetts Pirates, we are an indoor football league team down at Worcester. We play at the DZU Center. Indoor football is extremely exciting. I encourage everyone to go to a game. It's honestly like one of the most exciting events I've ever been to. Going to these games, and I've been to Pacers games. I've been to Celtics games. Indoor football is something else. Seeing those guys chase their dreams of trying to get to the NFL, like all my guys are doing, it means so much to me. One story that I just wanted to share real quick was, I had a player on my team, and he came in. He was a defensive back. He came in. He was from BC. He was working as a trainer, and he was working as an Uber driver. He came in. He played for the Pirates. The first couple of games he didn't play. He finally fought his way onto the starting job. He won the starting job. He played the rest of the season. The XFL came around, which was Dwayne the Rock Johnson's football league,
Oh,
and they play on ABC and ESPN. He got drafted in that league. The first 5 games he didn't play at all. He played the last 3 games. He just earned an NFL contract with the Atlanta Falcons, right? And so he went
whoa.
all the way from here to up there. And so watching guys like that inspires me more than anything. And I love my one thing about the Pirates is the relationships I have with my guys. I mean, I'm talking to my guys on the phone probably every other day. Guys who have played on the team, and they're all from different states. You know, one of my close friends, he lived in Arkansas. I have another one who lived in Nebraska. I have another one who lived in Texas, and we talk, routinely, and not even just about football. It's about life, the life lessons I learned, and I learned a lot of good life lessons from the players, and I also learned like life lessons on maybe what to do better. If someone didn't make it, why didn't they make it? And then looking into that and figuring out if you were in that situation, how could you handle that better? So,
That's awesome. That's amazing. I mean, you're so wise beyond your years. So tell me, what is your biggest inspiration?
my biggest inspiration is when I see a person who has an opportunity and doesn't take full advantage of it. When I see someone who's an athlete or at anything and they have the potential and they just throw it away because they don't want to put the extra work in, that's what inspired me because it's like if they can't do it, that's what I was brought on to do. I was brought on to do what they had an opportunity to do. And I see guys like Kobe Bryant and watching what he did and the amount of work he put in. I see people like my mom, my grandparents sacrificing so much, for me, my grandfather, extra shifts at the hospital late at night, my grandmother, staying up, making me dinner and making me lunch, my mom, driving me to all my events, and even my uncle, visiting me from New York from the hospital, you know, two days in a row, driving back in the snow, like all these things that these people put into, seeing me, reach my dreams. Like I can't stop. I have no reason. I look at my life always, and whenever I'm like thinking about complaining, I have no reason to complain. Like why complain? Because the more you complain, you're gonna just set yourself back. Every complaint you make is two steps back. So I just want to keep moving forward and keeping all these people close to me, and I do it for them.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it's amazing that at your age you understand that and you are just like such an old soul listening to you talk and all the lessons you've learned and before you even hit 18. That's amazing. And I am just like so honored to have had you here. I do want to let everybody know that Krish has a podcast and what's the name of it?
It's called Shady Sports Network. You can find it on YouTube. We have a Facebook page and a Twitter as well.
Perfect. And he has this amazing book we were hoping to get to read from it, but we're probably not going to be able to since we only have 40 seconds left. It's called The Bravest Heart on the Team, and obviously we know who that is, and the most intelligent, I am sure, because you are so deep and you have taught me so much in this short, like less than half hour we've been together about
Definitely.
mindset, about kindness, about giving back, about standing on your own 2 feet. And I just want to thank you so much for being here with us today. And I wish you nothing but success. I can't wait to watch you over the summer and see your teams.
Thank you. Yeah, no, for everyone who's watching, I appreciate you guys, taking time out of your day. And my last message to you: just go be great and go chase your dreams.
Absolutely. So, keeping and creating unity in the community. This is Stacey Levine-Lavely, and have a wonderful, wonderful summer.